Hello everybody, today we're playing with Akul the Unrepentant. It's a 4 mana 5/5 legendary creature Scorpion Dragon Rogue with Flying and Trample, and has an activated ability. Sacrifice 3 other creatures. You may put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery and only once each turn. So how do we make this commander work? Well, first we're going to need our early game plan is to make many creatures. Ideally cheap creatures so we can sacrifice the turn we play our commander. And we're also going to need our payoffs, high costed creatures that offer a bit more than just a strong body. What do I mean by that? For example, one clear example is the Overlord. Once we get it into the battlefield, it does 4 damage to any target, especially enters or attacks. You also can impending. The idea with these expensive creatures is make sure that those creatures give some effect or are difficult to deal with the turn you play them. So one example is more difficult to deal would be cards like Valgaboth, where the opponent has to sacrifice 3 non-land permanents to just target. Either that or find ways to make you sacrifice, which is not easy, or a board wipe. And cards that have an effect, such as Hoarding Broodlord, where you get to search for a card. For example, you can search more creatures, you can search for the Song of Tontas if you're against control, you can search maybe for Liliana to deal with a problematic card. Gives you quite a bit of options. There's also Runescarred Demon. I really like Rakdos, Patron of Chaos. At first, this card does not fit the other conditions to do something when it enters, but it has an effect on your end step, which gives the option to the opponent to either they sacrifice 2 non-land non-token permanents, or you draw 2 cards. So most of the time, this is a draw 2, and that's just on your turn. In your next turn, if they can't deal with the Patron of Chaos, you get to draw additionally each time. So just quite a bit of value. I really like this card. I think it's quite cool in this type of list. So how does our early game work? Because it's not as simple as just making small creatures. We need to be proactive. And how are we going to be proactive? We have a package of creatures that if they die, they get some sort of value. For example, Greedy Freebooter, Infestation Sage, and some sort of sacrifice outlets. Example be Corrupted Conviction, so we can block with the creature and draw 2 cards, or just sacrifice a creature and immediately draw. Eaten Alive, Hellish Sideswipe, and Worthy Cost are all removal spells by sacrificing a creature. That's very important because our creatures are going to have worse stats than the opponent's creatures. They're 1/1s, they're pretty small. But if we get to sacrifice one of our creatures that makes a token, we deal with their most valuable card, and we get to push on the offensive. We also have other ways to make resources, such as Sear Slicer Goblin gives us raid just by attacking, so even if the opponent has a blocker, we get the raid effect to make a goblin. That's quite useful because if turn 1 we played a creature, turn 2 we play this card, we get another one, we already have our 3 creatures we need, so we can actually even sacrifice one of their tokens for a removal, and then we still can attack on our when we have 4 mana to cast our commander, sacrifice the creatures by not sacrificing the Sear Slicer Goblin, and still be able to get our big payoff. As for other cards, we have Lord Skitter that gives us tokens, and of course our interaction. Important interaction, I really like the duress effects. We have the duress, dreams of steel, intimidation tactics, mainly for 2 options. Number 1, to against the green decks, as they have very powerful cards, we need to disrupt them. And against Ugin, we get to disrupt their artifact because we're not the fastest deck in the world, and by the time we play our commander and play our 2 big creatures, the Ugin player can very easily just exile them. So our backup plan into them is not only disrupt their hand, also I play Shielder's Edict. You can go for the throat effects, but I think I believe Shielder's Edict's better. We have other removal effects, We don't have many ways to deal with planeswalkers, and there's a lot of planeswalker commanders. There's Elspeth, there's Liliana, there's Rel, there's Rawl, there's and Ugin, of course. So being able to force them to sacrifice their commander immediately is quite powerful. So I like these effects. We have two cards are in center Brawl, which is Dragon Fodder as well with Rail's Reinforcements to get multiple tokens. So we have multiple multiple bodies to sacrifice. That plays with our commander and also with Fountain Port because we can sacrifice them to draw a card. And later the card draw, because card draw becomes an issue. Our card draw effects are going to be Gix because we have many creatures. We can get cards that way. Liliana is not necessarily card draw, but it disrupts our opponent and is a win con on her own. And Inti as well also gives us card draw and makes our small creature larger. I also like a Gecko in this deck more than Arcane Signet because it's a body we can sacrifice later. And for example, when we have 4 mana, we can hit with all our creatures. We get the Gecko, we get the mana back because he pays for itself, and you get to sacrifice him immediately with Akul. So let's see how I do with Akul the Unrepentant. Yep. And draw on good. Plaza Heroes to get Inti on board. Hopefully it doesn't need counter remove, but it's 25 colors. I'm not surprised. We're just playing 5 color good stuff. We can get to the theater with the goblin. Oh no, we need to hit a red. Yeah. We have double black. We would need double red. Oh, I think we need this land. Bit unfortunate. We had a red. That's the problem with lands. We run the utility lane and we got punished. Now the problem is from this point on they can just keep counters. Yeah, that's what they're gonna do. Yeah, probably gonna get. Alright. Resolves. I think at this point I want to overlord his Omnath.
Simply close your eyes and surrender such enticing thoughts.
We need 1 red. And we didn't draw it. So do we rack those? Yeah, I'm going for it.
Are exhausting.
We're in. What do I get? Do I overload and deal with you, or do I chaos? No. Okay, yeah. We deal with this one.
I will find you.
At least we get something out of the way.
Serving of my heart.
We can start playing Rakdos, Patron of Chaos next turn. Yeah, I'm surprised. We've got something out of the way though. Good news here is I can play him. And now I get to draw. We're getting flooded. We're getting flooded, which is a problem. Yeah, the problem with 5 color good stuff decks are they're just board white. Yep. They haven't played a single time their commander. And we've drawn such an insane amount of lands. Question is, do we play you? If he has a sacrifice spell like Liliana and bad. If he has boar wipes, I don't really mind at this point. Get something out of the way. At least we protect from a sacrifice spell. Opponent just plays another boar wipe, that's what they drew. Make them have it, right? Temporary lockdown. I mean, it hits their token. Fine with that. Do they have to play 2 spells for it? It's okay. I like the Inferno. But can we protect him if we need to do that? Let's keep pressuring him. We have Merrick's and Fountain Port. Start making tokens. Opponent tries to target it. That's why we have Plaza of Heroes. Make them burn resources. One of the reasons why we have these 2 lands. They're pretty annoying, especially with our colors, but they're the few lands that give us a chance into these slow matchups. So they just run a bunch of board wipes. Alright. Token. One has mana up, so I don't think we... I'd like to gallop here, but I think I'm saving it. The play I want to do is make a token and then copy it with a calamity.
I don't take kindly to evil overlords.
If it happens.
That's you gotta go.
Let's make a token. Cut down his guy. Okay, now we have to think. If we play you in Calamity, how much damage is this? Okay. I believe it is time we have to go. We're gonna go face, I believe. 4, 6, 7, yeah. Do we deal with Kaya? Let's deal with Kaya, I guess. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I believe it's lethal. Let's go 6. I have 2 here. 6, 7, 8. I'm so close. I think we should just do this. Go here.
I can't believe it.
So yeah. Go red. insects. Keep pressuring. Hopefully he doesn't have another boar wipe. But if he does, that's where the tokens go in.
The weak-minded will be educated in Phyrexians. I know where
Okay,
to
he's
find all
drawing. He
the
has 5
answers.
more mana. We got there. Definitely a game of patience. It was a pretty difficult start, especially with the opponent having the boar wipe, the planeswalker countered our first creature and had interaction. But here is the value of just playing enough creatures to pressure them and then have the utility lands as a fallback for the linking, because they will eventually run out of resources. And then that's where you want to play your commander and the big creatures. Our Rakdos, Patron of Chaos, even though he didn't get a chance to hit, it still draws 2 cards. And those were 2 lands. So it really saved us by getting more resources, because later we had the Overlord to deal with the Planeswalker and drew the Calamity. Just card draw is very, very important in mid-range. Good game. Okay, we're against Brawl. What's the most consistent? Warlock, Goblin, Rogue. That's the engine. Goblins. Wow, he has an instant boost. Okay. I thought he had a 1 mana removal. That would have been pretty powerful. Okay. Destroy creature vehicle. Exile the creature here. I don't think I'm playing commander here. I am hitting first. I'm naming dragon. I can't deal with it. That's why we hide the dragon, the counter souls. Fine. Alright, fine. I'm getting my value now. I don't care. Give me cards. There. Next turn we can do the same thing, but with a Belgamoth. They're dead, by the way, if they don't deal with our creatures. Oh, I'm getting my value. Use the counter here. Let's get Balgabon. Fun. Fun for the family. Alright, GG's. The power of aggression. The opponent also relied on counter magic to counter our commander, but we had Cavern of Souls. Very useful. One of the big tips is to hide the Cavern of Souls until the absolute last minute, because the opponent's game plan may be revolving around holding counter magic up. If Cavern of Souls in play, they'll do a different line, as they had there. They did have interaction to deal with our creatures, but they were terrified of our commander, so they held counter magic open. but because we played it until after combat, the opponent had to take all that damage, and then once we got our triggered ability, it was too late. GG's. I'd like to do you, but you're not gonna lose life. Do I want this left? I don't think so. Could be wrong. Well, he drew his best card in the deck. We have no removal. The bad thing about these expensive cards. Just attack. Attack is fine. Let's see how much he values his blocker. Alright. Just blockers. I like to play my commander here. Get the demon. What else can we do? What's your name? Are you a demon? No, you're a rogue. Let's say dragon. If it has. So. What do I want? Oh, the overload? Alright, we got there. Definitely one of the advantages we were able to pressure, and we took full advantage of the Flame Cash Gecko. Got to be aggressive, got the mana, and be able to play our commander. GG's. Two or fewer. Good try this hand. Fortunately, second type and Duressa. Is it more important to hit their hand or to... I think it's more important to hit their hand. Okay, so we know he has removal. The bat we don't have easy ways to deal with. No matter what, all of this is kind of bad. Is this exile? Out of curiosity. Okay, so we do have a way to deal with the bat. This, I don't care too much. Okay, you're fine. Alright, let me get Bloodgust. Hit our land next turn. Worries me. Let's see. That's fine. I'm okay with this. I think they were too impatient with that. Exile a creature. Not missing that land drop was really bad. Let's see if we can get there. That's the problem with these expensive cards. They're expensive and they do nothing if we don't Get our win con. Alright, we have our land drop. That's good. The unfortunate here is I'd like to exile that Bloodghast, but I want to deal with the Braids. There's no clean solution into that. He can't block, which is good. Do we deal with the cult? Do we sack the cult or we sack the token? No matter what, decisions are not very good. I think the cult. Alright, that's so slow. At least we can get some value for the token. Here's we just have to pray we get to draw lands here. Get some of our card, it would not be bad either. Problem is any big creature will get momentum breaker. Wow, they're that desperate? I did not agree with that play. Yeah, the lands are pretty brutal missing here. We're seeing one of the disadvantages. Oh, well, at least we have a cut down target. I think the opponent's a little bit too impatient with their removal, which is good for us. So we can sacrifice here, but man, missing that land was really brutal. What do we do here? We have to deal with this thing. I feel so wrong, but there's nothing really else we can do. If we miss another land with our pieces, I think this matchup is over. Yeah, the opponent just has some of the targets. It's wasting his removal. Does not matter. Does not matter. We cannot even play our commander, which is really unfortunate. But we get to. Okay. I have to draw my land. We're gonna make a fish. You can get the hit. Nothing we can do about that. Make a fish. We need resources here. At this point, I am thinking to block here. I would like to sacrifice here. What's the best play? I believe we have to draw. We can't afford to miss a single land drop until the rest of the game. So I believe what we have to do is just, we have to go, yeah. If we draw more cards, good. But we have to not miss our land drops. Get you down. Next turn, we need one black for our worm. All right, let's go. And we hit him. So if he even doesn't block, he's losing their life. Okay. Using one more land for that. Fine. Ooh, Galloping Inferno, is that better? I like this. So we can play you and have one off. Let's pressure him. Use our combo. Just go on the offense. We have two blockers. Alright, he's down to 2. He has to win this turn. Enough. Yep, exactly. Give it the counter, and we got Ligma. Alright, game. Very close game, but those lands. What saved us, the opponent also missed lands. If the opponent did not miss those lands, we were 100% lost, but we got there. Remember that turn where we needed to hit our land drops? I was not kidding. We used Corrupted Conviction to hit our land drops as we did not have time anymore. So, because one option was to block with the fish, and in response, Corrected Conviction to draw the cards and get a little bit of life. But we needed to hit those land drops because we had Massacre Worm in hand, just 6 drops. We had the Calamity and the Patron of Chaos. So if we hit those lands, we were guaranteed to have good hits. And that saved us. We got to draw 2 lands, and those 2 lands got us closer to our 3rd black source to Massacre Worm and Stabilize. GG's. For the post-game wrap with Akul the Unrepentant. This is a pretty fun commander. I like it quite a bit. I do see that the disadvantage of a deck like this is it's pretty high on the rares and mythics, and you're playing a mid-range deck. Of the archetypes to play, mid-range is quite difficult to brew because you need everything to work. You need your early game, you need your interaction, and you need cards to close the game. Also hit consistently your land drops. So you want a big mix of creatures, removal, card draw, and a bit of endgame. If all those stick together, you can win against almost anything in the field, but you're very reliant on drawing the right card at the right time. So how we do that is with your card draw. And unfortunately, all the good card draw, they're rares or mythics. As for the lands, that also is quite high on the budget because our commander is 4 mana. It's 2 black and 2 red. So we're going to need all the rares, even the tap ones, so we can consistently hit our 2 black and 2 red. I even have Friend Portal, Plaza of Heroes, Fable Passage. We have all of them. And I really like Fountain Pour and Mirrors as they're quite nice into the control matchups. Because the opponent's going to be perma trying to destroy all our creatures, and we can just make more with Fountain Port. Of the expensive cards, I've tried them, all of them, in one matchup or another, and I like this list. I like these cards. Each one has a purpose, and I really like Calamity Galloping Inferno for a combo with our 1-drops, because our 1-drops do something when they die. So even though you're hitting with 2 1/1s, they're giving you more tokens, which you can sacrifice them for another big creature that's in your hand, or into the control player. They have a lot of single target interaction, and you force them to burn a board wipe, which is quite useful. And of course it has haste, so it's pretty good later on the. Let's say we have a cool turn. We have Calamity in our hand, another big creature. We play the big creature. The opponent board wipes it, and the next turn we can play a 1-drop and Calamity, and we hit our opponent immediately. And now the opponent is forced to board wipe again. that's the type of scenarios we need into those matchups. And I'm really liking this deck. It's pretty fun. It does have some bad matchups. I would say Ugin's maybe one of the most difficult matchups, so that's why I have suited in cards to deal with interact with artifacts. And you can play Brotherhood's End, so it's you can play Brotherhood's End. I wouldn't say it's the best card in this deck, but if you really hate the Ugin matchup and you just want to have your best chances into that specific matchup, you may run Brotherhood's End just for that matchup alone. And it's not bad into other aggressive decks. You just need to play around that card being in your hand. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Comment below which other commanders would you like me to play. Thanks for watching.